Hey, this is Brian with the Seat Shop. Today we're going to walk you through the install on bottom and top covers on an F250. So this is going to be for year models 2011 through 2016. The F250 for this year range is very similar to the F150 as well. They look almost identical. There's a little bit difference in size, but the overall pattern, everything looks almost identical. 150 to 250. So if you have an F150 from 2009 up through 14, it's going to install very similar to this 250. There's a couple clips in different spots, and that's pretty much about it. The overall look and feel of it's the same. There's a couple different attachment methods that are different that hold the cover down, but they're extremely similar. So if you got a 150, this video will help you out as well. But we're going to dig into this 250. So doing the top and the bottom. So the year range on this one, like I said earlier, is 2011 up through 16. There's a couple little things they changed throughout in that year range, and they're all real minor things. The foam cushions stayed the same. They'll change on this front area here. Sometimes they had a little bit bigger piece of a carpet, but the clip would roll all the way underneath the frame so you don't see it. There's a couple different ways they did it. Sometimes they had a little skirt across the front that just kind of covered up over it, and then it had another piece of material behind that that would wrap and clip. They changed it up several different years, 3 or 4 different times between that year range of 11 to 16. They all work. They all fit on the same foam. It's still the same frame. It's just a couple different ways that Ford changed their mind on different models on how they're going to do this very front piece where the clip wraps around and clips onto the frame. So we're going to walk you through the tools that you'll need, all real basic stuff, nothing really crazy that you shouldn't have already in your toolbox. I'm going to set these covers aside and kind of go through what all you're going to need. So you'll need a Torx bit. This is a T20, I believe. Yeah, T20. We got a 13 millimeter socket, and I got a 7 millimeter socket. I got some hog ring pliers, a pair of needle nose pliers, a pair of snips, some scissors, a Phillips and a flathead screwdriver, and I got my impact here to run with my sockets here. So I also got a steamer as well. So we're going to steam out the foam and the leather and everything, and we'll get into that, all the places we're going to use steam throughout the install. So first, we're going to start by, well, I already have this out of the truck, but I'm going to show you how to disconnect the power connections from underneath the seat first that are coming from the floorboard up. So there's 2 big like cartridges underneath that that you'll have to release from the floorboard. So, and the two they look very similar, but there's some differences on how you what you got a button you got to push to release them. So they got one right here on the left side, or this would be towards the console. This is the driver's seat. This would be towards the console, and they got this one right here. Okay. So these 2 pieces release, and this whole big cartridge will remove out. So on this one, there's a little button right here. You kind of push in. There we go. And then this arm will start to, you can swing this open, okay? So when you push this all the way down, it basically kind of ejects this big cartridge with all the wires and stuff in it. There's that. Okay. This one's a little bit different. Okay, so there's a spot you can push down here, and then this releases and opens up. Okay, so that's clicked on, pushed in here with one finger, and then pull this out, and then push all the way down to the bottom, and then this whole cartridge will come out. All right, with this down, then this piece here, this whole plug will pull up out of there as well. So we're gonna ink this guy out. There we go. They usually aren't nearly that hard to get out, but they will just pull up once these levers are opened. Okay, so now we'll set that aside. Now you can pull your seat out of the truck. I can't remember what size the bolts are for the floor. I think they're either 20 or 21 millimeter bolts. I believe there's 4 bolts for the floor, 20, 21, 22, somewhere in there. Just take a look at the floor, see what the size bolt it is. I think it's in the low 20s, something like that, to be able to pull the seat out. But once you get them unbolted, you have to undo these connections so you can take the seat completely out of the truck. So next, we're going to pull the power control panel off the side, off the plastic here. So there's a bunch of different, let me come back around front. There's a bunch of different spots on the inside of this that, that hold on to this panel here onto the frame. So at the very top here and here, there's some hooks that clip over and hook on down. And then at the very front up in here, there's another piece of plastic that kind of sticks out and hooks around the front of this. And then there's some, there's a little clip here, and at the back. So you can lay this thing on the side and you can look up underneath here in between this plastic here and here. And there's a couple, you can see the first clip is right here that you'll be able to push in on the little tab. And there's another one that's in the back here, right here, that you can push in on. And then this middle tab here is just a metal clamp that hooks over a metal bar here. And you'll see exactly what I'm talking about when you see the back side of the piece of plastic. So I'm gonna push in here to release that. There we go. And there's been a couple tabs on this thing that are broken, so it comes off a little bit easier. There's that there. We'll lift, once I have this, I'm gonna lift up so that these hooks come off. And then we got the power connection here. So there's just a quick connect button on the power connection. We'll push in and that comes off, okay? So we'll go through all the different connection points that are on this that hook it into here. Once you have this off, there's gonna be a Torx bit, a T20. So we're gonna grab our 20. This can be at the very front. So right here, we got a T20. Okay. There's gonna be another one that's in the side of this plastic. Get this clip out of the way. There's another one right here. This piece happens to be broken, but there's a screw that goes right through here. It's another 20 as well. So we're going to pull that off just for the heck of it. Okay. So this screw goes through this hole right here on the plastic. And then at the very back, there's going to be a Phillips. Let's see here. Okay. So this Phillips one's underneath this carpet piece. So we're going to undo that with a flathead Phillips or a flathead screwdriver. There's a clip here at the back that we're going to pull off. Flip this up. And now that's going to expose our Phillips head screw right there. Go. Okay, so now is where the last little weird screw is. This one happens to be broken off of this one, but I can still show you where the screw goes to it. And just like the 150, this was when the first time I took this apart, I couldn't find where this thing was. Something was still holding this whole plastic panel off, and it's driving me nuts. So this thing comes off. Okay, so there's a little plug. So here on this piece, here's where it goes, is right here, okay? There's a little stump that comes off of that, and it goes into the side of this seat, and there's a screw on the back side of that. So to get to that, let's see if I can get it up top. There we go. Okay, so we got the carpet. This piece here that's wrapped around the side. So this is the carpet on the side of the seat. comes around the back here. That's where our little Phillips screw was. Grab this carpet here and pull it around this tab. Okay, so you got your metal tab here, and you get a little pocket in the carpet right here. That little pocket there goes around that metal, and then you run your screw through, okay? Screw through there. So pull this off and get that out of the way, okay? Now there's a little bitty chrome or silver screw. So here's that stump, that little plastic piece. This is part of the big side control panel. So this piece here, it should be permanently attached to the large control panel on the side. And this little bitty 7mm screw back here that you got to get out to release it off. And so we're going to get in there with our impact with the 7mm on it here. Okay. Okay, let's see if we can get this out without dropping it. If I drop it, it's not that big of a deal, which I did, so. All right, let's move this stuff out of the way. I'll fish for that screw here in a little bit. But that's the one that's not real obvious to see when you're taking it apart, to know where that screw is. But it's a pretty important one because it holds on pretty well. This is the first one I've ever taken apart where that one's actually broken off like that. There we go, there's a screw. But usually that's a really good one on the back to hold that whole control panel up real well. So make sure you get that screw off and don't just get frustrated with it and rip it off, which can happen. So. All right, now we're going to start to unclip all the clips that are holding our bottom cover on. So we get some clips here. So there's just a round metal bar that's going down the side of this. Pull that off. This one here. That off. Boom. Okay. That's there. Back's off. Okay. So at the very front, we'll get this clip here. We'll come down with the flathead. That off. Okay, got another clip on the side here. Come from the inside here, underneath here, with the flathead and try to kind of pry that thing off. Not much room to work with in there. So we can get it going. There we go. Okay, there's that clip. Right, that's there. That's off. Those are all off. That's there. Okay, so now on the back carpet of the cover, you get this flap here. This flap has a big piece of plastic sewn into it all the way across. Well, this piece of plastic is wider than the gap in between your seat top and bottom. So a lot of times you can do it both ways. Sometimes I'll unbolt the seat top and just lay it back on its back so I can pull the cover off, or you can try to bend and mash this thing around to get it through there. It's just a lot more of a pain, in my opinion, to do it that way. So I'm gonna grab my 13 mil undo these 4 bolts that drop this seat top off of the bottom. So just lay it back on its back there and you have it out of the way. So let me make sure my bolts are exposed over here. I need to pull those off. All right, so I need to get this carpet out of the way so that I can, there we go. Normally I'd take a pry tool to pull this off, but I can get my needle nose underneath here a little bit and pull this little tab out. There we go. That to the side. Okay, so these are bolts here. These are the 13 millimeter here and here. Same thing corresponding on the other side. We'll unbolt those and then just lean the seat back. Okay. Okay. So then lay that back. Okay, so now this plastic will come through a whole lot easier. There we go. All right, so then I'm gonna start turning my cover kind of inside out to take it off. Don't yank it off the surface yet, just start rolling the corners up. Okay, so then we're gonna look and see how the cover is attached to the foam. So this one's got some, what they call, it's got a hog ring strip, but they're actually not hog ringed on. It's got some little tabs in it that there's a, like a listing that's sewn onto the cover that pushes down and catches into a little rail that's in the foam. So we'll undo those in a second. We got, oh, this material still hooked on. Okay. Some other clips across the back of this on this black material here that are wrapped underneath the frame and sewn on. Let me undo those. Okay. Yeah, so these other 2 clips were underneath there hooked on. So those are undone. Okay. So let's scoot this back a little bit. Still works. There we go. Okay, so there's going to be these little orange tabs that are sunk down into the foam, and they kind of, the tabs kind of make a hook like this, okay, like that, and your piece of plastic will push down into the top of it, and it'll catch. These 2 catches here will catch onto it. So I'm going to try to pry one open, so I pry one open like that to let the clip out. So I'm going to push down on one side and try to roll this clip out of that channel. Sometimes they're easy, sometimes they're really difficult. Just, let's see. Okay, there's one. Let's work our way back. We can take the whole cover and everything off, but we'll leave it on the frame right now. Let's see what's on the front. The front's got those 2. Okay, 1, 2, 3. There's a little bit of Velcro at the very back, which is a lot easier than these clips. There we go. Okay, so these are the channels. So this piece of plastic is basically shaped like an arrowhead, okay? And this edge here and this edge here clip down into these orange pieces that are shaped about like that. They hook into, they just push down and clip, okay? So that's how they hook on. They got a little stretch of Velcro at the back. We'll throw this to the side. Now, before we put a new cover on, we need to do something with the foam. At the very least, we're going to steam the foam out so it puffs back up, so it swells back close to its original shape and size. The left side, driver's side, when you get in and out, the left edge is usually what's going to be the worst. That's gotten the most compressions. This is a 2016, so it's in pretty decent shape. Density is still actually pretty good in there, so this one we could probably just steam out and be good to go. Replacing the foam is definitely something that you should do or think about doing if the side's pretty crushed. Mainly from here to here is where it gets most of the damage. So I know we'll be coming out with our Durafoam cushions on these as well, but either getting a new foam is the best way. If the foam's not available or we don't have the Durafoam yet, you can you make sure you steam it out, but you can also cut and carve out a block of foam here. If it's really beat up, take it to a local upholstery shop. To have it stripped down to this point, just go take them the foam and ask them if they can, carve in a new piece, to repair it. But more than likely, we'll have a new Durafoam cushion that you can put on there and have a brand new foam underneath the cover. Because if you don't do anything about the foam and you put a new cover on an old beat up foam, the new cover is not going to last. It's not going to hold up at all. You're just going to look like you got 100,000 miles on it, and after a month of driving around on it. So make sure you definitely address the foam. All right, now we're going to take the steamer. I'm just going to mash it up against the foam. I'm going to work my way around it, the whole cushion real slow, and really letting the steam penetrate in. And this is a commercial steamer. You don't have to have a commercial steamer. Any kind of garment steamer, something cheap. First one I had is a $30 rig from Walmart. So it doesn't matter. Just make sure if you have some steam, get a steamer, borrow one, find one on Craigslist, whatever. It makes a real big difference on the foam, as well as once we get the covers installed, steaming out the leather and everything after it's installed. So there's nothing glamorous to this other than just spend the time to really go around all the cushions, steam it out, make sure it all swells back up. Sometimes it reacts really good with the steam and really puffs up. Sometimes it just moves a little bit, but this one's swelling up pretty good. It makes a big difference. You think if you get an eighth inch of a swell, if it puffs back out over the entire cushion, how much space that takes up in the cover, when you put it on, so that way it doesn't fit loose or baggy or anything like that. So we'll keep on steaming this whole thing. So this seat has the heated and cooled seats in it. So you can see this different sections kind of down the middle. You see this big white kind of checkered fabric in the middle. So that lets the air blow through the foam. So there's a blower motor underneath the seat, and there's a kind of oval shaped port underneath the bottom of this foam that lets the blower motor blow air up through the seat. And then there's some channels that are kind of cut out of the foam here underneath here. So it kind of does an X in the middle of this and up to here. So then these little ovals that are in are where the air can actually flow up through the seat, through this part, and then through the perforated leather on the cover. So if you don't have the heated and cooled seats, this should just be solid in the middle. But if you got the heated and cooled, you'll see this stuff here in the center. So, and here's another thing is the heated and cooled, for most of the time, depending on what manufacturer and what year, it actually blows hot air or cold air through the seat. So at one point, I think Dodge actually kind of led the charge on this one, the cheaper route, which just blows the ambient temperature air in the truck. So for the cooled seats, they're really ventilated seats. So it just blows the air in the truck. So when you start your truck and you're in Arizona or Texas and it's 115 out, well, you're getting 115 degree air blow through the seat until your truck cools down. If, you know, the other Ford and Chevy, and a lot of them, they still had the cooled seats where actually blew cold air through the seat or hot air through the seat. When they changed and just did the ventilated seats where it blew the ambient temperature, they would put an actual seat heater on top of just a regular heat pad, just like any other truck with heated seats, on top of the foam, and that created the heat instead of blowing hot air. So if you had that kind of style seat, you turn your ventilated seat on, you'd hear the fan motor kick on. If you turn the heat on, you wouldn't hear anything because just that heating element would start heating up. So the heating element would just go over top of this and just sit on top of that and heat up. But Ford kept a lot of the same style, the real stuff with the actually heated and cooled, not just ventilated seat with a heat pad on it. So here we go. Now, at the very beginning of the video, I was talking about how the F-150 is very similar. The shape, look, design almost identical. The F-150 Velcros on this whole horseshoe instead of having all these hog rings that push in. So that's a little bit different. It makes it a little bit easier to put on, to be honest with you. And the size of the overall size of the cover and the foam and everything is a little bit smaller on the 150, but the seat frame design, everything is almost identical. So this could really help you out on a 150 install too. Okay, this looks pretty good. We'll let that kind of dry out a little bit, and then we're gonna go ahead and put our bottom cover on. We're gonna snag our bottom cover real quick. Okay, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and detach the top from the bottom. So there's the cables that are running from the top to the bottom for the airbag and for the power motors for the lumbar and all that jazz are connected. So I'm going to kind of follow the wires that are coming from the top back to here and take those off. Just we got a little bit more room to work. Okay, that's there. That's my airbag. Okay. And all airbag connections, just a little note, all airbag connections are going to be yellow typically. I hadn't seen anything, any airbags that don't have yellow clips, but so all airbag clips I've ever run across all yellow. Okay, let's look at this other. Okay. Like I said, this isn't totally necessary, but it's a lot easier for me to keep showing when I can have two separate parts, not having this top in the way the whole time. So I'm just gonna remove these. Okay, we'll go and move this to the side. Okay, now put our bottom back on. So here's, you can see the fan motor. This is the blower motor for the heated and cooled seats right here. So the little oval piece right here, and this on the underneath side, you got, here's the port that the air blows through, okay? So if you did take your foam off or pulled it off there for any reason, make sure that those line back up when you stick it back on. It's pretty easy because they're all, the cushion's all molded to the frame, so it should all fit right in the right spot. But that's all it is for actually installing your foam onto the frame. They literally just lift straight up off of the frame. The only thing that really completely holds it in place is the seat cover itself. When the seat cover is hooked on, wrapped around and clipped everywhere, that's, you know, sandwiches this in between, so you can't take it off. So there's nothing other than that involved in putting a new foam on or, you know, taking the foam on or off. So, okay, we got the foam on, grab our cover. All right, I'll flip this around. Okay, so we're gonna have the same clips on the underneath side of ours. We have the big kind of hog ring bar that's sewn on that'll push down into all these orange connections. If you happen to break one of these connections when you're undoing taking the original cover off, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. There's in between these clips, like from here to here, there's another plastic bar that's attached, that's holding these two pieces together, because these are attached. Both those pieces will come off in one unit. So you can take some hog rings and hog ring it on around there. You can take a zip tie and zip tie around there, and that'll cinch it down. You can glue it down. There's all kinds of other things you can do. If this thing breaks, the plastic clip breaks open and stays too far wide, it doesn't clamp together, which happens quite often on a lot of stuff. But not the end of the world. You can still get around it. So I'm going to fold the seat kind of in half. We're going to start with our horizontal seam here. So I'm going to flip this kind of over, lay it flat down. And I can also see my seam here and here. And I'm going to make sure I got it lined up down the center so it's not too far this way or that way. And go and set my horizontal clips first. Looks pretty good. Okay, and then these you're just going to go right over top and push straight down. You'll hear them clip. There we go. They'll snap into place. There we go. That middle one's broken, but the other two are holding it down pretty good. I don't want to spend much time gluing in, but that's holding down good there. So now I'm going to turn it this way. Okay, make sure we're straight. So we got there's a little piece of strip of Velcro that's at the very back here. I'm gonna go ahead and probably set it first. I wanna pull this straight back, make sure my seam double stitch down the middle is really straight, and push this down and hook that to the Velcro right there. Okay, and then I'm gonna work around all these sides, pushing the clip down onto it. These clips roll quite a bit. It's kind of a pain to get it to roll the right way because it's sewn on a curve. And so you got to get the arrow part of the clip that's on the cover facing straight down to be able to push down. So sometimes it's kind of a pain to roll it so that it's facing down properly, so that when you push it down into the cover, it'll hold. Get the front one on. There we go. There we go. This corner's gonna be the worst. Personally, I hate having these clips. I like Velcro or something like that I can adjust and really pull and pull forward, or stretch forward or back or whatever, so I can really make sure it's sitting just right. But it is what it is. We got to go with the way the Ford or GM or Dodge or whoever made it, because we're gonna match it just like factory, so it goes back on like factory. So here we go. There we go. The clip to roll. Oh, almost. There we go. There we go. All right, those are in. That's Velcroed. Okay, so we got horizontals done. Okay, now we're gonna wrap the cover around the frame. So I'll start with one of the front corners. I'll take one hand on the inside and I'll kind of follow the double stitch that goes around the corner. I'll keep my fingers on that double stitch. I'm gonna push out with my inside hand and I'm gonna push in on that foam and then roll it over. I'm gonna keep constant contact with the cover all the way down the edge, instead of just kind of half-ass pulling it over and then trying to tug it down. You really want to roll it where it stays connected to the foam the whole way down. It makes it a whole lot better. It's a lot easier than trying to adjust it later. So I'm gonna push with my right hand. I'm pushing out and forward, and I'm pushing in on the foam here to help this roll over. There we go. Okay, so that's there. Okay, now we're gonna start working on all of our clips, wrapping around and clipping onto the frame. So we'll start with the front one here. Let's see if I can flip this so you can see better. Get the stuff off of here. Okay. All right, now what we're gonna do, just clip everything off. So this is right over the front edge and pushes down. Almost all the way there. Get this box in the way, it's kind of hard to work with. There we go, okay. That's on there. This piece here is going to come up over and then roll completely over, okay? So it doesn't just roll and catch like the front. So once it's hooked on, you won't see the clip at all. So this edge is gonna go here and then roll all the way over, and it pushes down into the frame. That, okay. This is going to hook onto the metal bar. There. hooks there. Now these pieces here on this side are gonna be kind of loose because when you put your control panel on, there's some pieces that push into it and hold it close to the frame. So if it's a little loose there, it's okay. This is an old clip from the old cover that was ripped off. Move it. That's it. That goes there. On there. Okay, so there's our hole there for our Torx to go back on. That's there. Okay, we'll go to the back. Do on this black material here on the back. We're going to pull these, there's clips here, we're going to pull these tight, clip those on, and then when this hooks on, it'll fit in the middle of these. So these will spread out, and this will hook in the middle in between those two once we get the rest of the stuff on. So that's going to be our bottom. Now we got to do some stuff with the top. So we're going to make sure that's that. Go. Okay. We're going to work on our top now, so then when we put these both together, we can do some final steaming and heating using heat gun and stuff on the surface of this to get everything to draw up nice and tight. And we'll do the same thing on the top. So we'll get the top cover put on, bolt the seat top and bottom back together, and then we'll come back and steam and heat all of our leather covers after they're installed to get them to really draw tight and really kind of really custom form fit onto the foam. So we'll grab the top and get started on it. All right, now on the top, the first thing we're going to do is take the headrest off. So we got the two plastic little guides that are in here. There's a little button towards the bottom on the kind of on the inside that we're going to have to hit. First, let's hit these two buttons first. There's a big button here, and there's also one on the inside here. We're going to push in at the same time and remove that. Okay, so we'll set the headrest over here to the side. Then there's little buttons on the inside of these tubes here, here, and here. So I'm down on the inside of here. There's a little spot we're going to hit with this flathead to push in, and then it'll pop out. And so the button's on the side that has the push button on it. So this button here, so it's not on the other side, they're on the inside, same side as this button. So we're going to go down this flathead, push in, and get the sucker to pull out. That's close, there we go. Okay, and so here's the button. I'll get you some other close-ups. That's what we're pushing in on right there. Okay, we'll set those to the side. Now we're going to grab, we'll flip this over to here. Okay, so here's another difference between the different year models between this style and design. So from 11 to 16. So in 11 and 12, they use some plastic clips to clip on this back where the back flap is. When they hit 13, they ran this hidden seam zipper. So this is a zipper chain that's actually like inverted, so you don't see the chain. You just see the material close up together. So they both do the same thing. The clips or the zipper, same deal. The same finished looks identical, just a different way of doing it. So different ways to do the same thing. So this one has a zipper, so I'm gonna try to unzip this sucker. Take my needle nose here and see if I can work it forward. There we go. Same thing over here. There we go. Okay, so now we've got a J-clip at the bottom here that we'll undo. Their flathead. Okay, that opens the back up. That down. We also have another clip right here that runs horizontal. Pop it off. There's your flathead. There we go. Okay. Now let's flip this over. We'll start pulling this up. Now also, these are going to be connected along here. We'll see if it's hog ring or what we got. Okay, it's the hog ring channels, but it's got the same those same clips that push down into it. So we're going to start kind of undoing those, just like the bottom. We'll push on that little orange tab and roll the clip out. Okay. Let's see, this side has the airbag. Okay. All right. Okay, now the side that has the airbag on it, okay? The airbag is built inside the frame. Here it's bolted. Here's the airbag right here, and it's bolted onto the frame here. So it uses two 10mm nuts that will attach from the inside here to hold that airbag on. So we'll take a 10 mil, we'll undo those, because the seat cover has a pouch that's sewn into the cover, okay? Then that airbag canister goes up inside of that pouch and bolts through there onto the frame. So we need to undo the nuts on the backside, pull the airbag canister off the side of the frame of the seat, and drop it out of the pocket that's sewn into the cover to be able to take the canister out. So when we put the new cover on, we can slide the new canister inside the new pouch on the new cover. So I'm gonna grab a 10 mil and pull that apart. All right, with our 10 mil, we're gonna take these two nuts off from the inside of the frame. Right inside here. See if I can mash the foam down and get to it a little easier. Maybe I don't need the extension. Yeah, there we go. There's one. and 2. Okay, so those are the two 10mm nuts there. So now we're going to pull the airbag canister, kind of pull it out from the frame, and start undoing it from the airbag pocket that's sewn into the cover here. Okay. Okay, now we get the little airbag cables attached to the top of the canister right here. So it's got a little orange tab. The orange tab will pull out towards you or away from the deal. Yeah, there we go. So once it pulls out, it'll pop out. And when you push it back in, you push that orange tab straight in and it locks back in. So we'll set the canister to the side for a second and finish taking the rest of the cover off. Gosh. There we go. Okay. All right, now our cover is off. We'll throw it to the side. Let's see. All right, we're gonna look at the foam and see if we need to do any kind of repairs to it. We got a big slit here. We're gonna glue that back together. This all looks good. All of our clips, orange clips, look good in the frame. Those look all right. We're gonna glue some of these splits open where it's kind of, we'll see the foam's kind of split open a little bit there. We're gonna glue that back together. Just take a spray adhesive. We use DAP Weldwood, W-E-L-D-W-O-O-D, DAP Weldwood spray glue. You can get it in some canisters. I think they got some, actually have some of them at Home Depot. But it's a really good spray contact adhesive to glue this kind of stuff back together. So we're gonna glue that together. We're gonna steam the foam out. So I think my steamer's rolling. I'm going to go ahead and steam it, and then I'll come back and glue it. All right, now I'm going to glue this stuff back together here. I'm gonna grab the top cover. So here's the top. Now, the top can be kind of tricky because you got the airbag on the side, plus you've got the back of it is open, all most 3/4 of the way up, and then you have this top part here, the solid. So we're gonna have to start from the top down to get the top section on before this flap starts, and then we're gonna have to connect all of our stuff on the front face of it. So we're gonna have to reach up underneath and be pushing all these in as we work our way down. Put our airbag canister in, bolt that in, keep working our way down. It's a little bit trickier. So to do this, you want to be standing over top of the cover and roll down on it. So I'm going to hop up top here and start rolling the top down. We're going to get this first connection here across the horizontal piece here, and there's no horizontal one on the back side too, and then we'll continue to roll our way down. So I'm going to turn the cover inside out. Okay. Now, I've got a little piece of plastic glued on the top corners of the foam here, there and there. It's just going to help get the cover to slide down over the sides real easy, so it helps form on there. It just reduces the friction. So these are just plastic bags you get like at the grocery store where you put your vegetables in. Same thing, just cut a little piece and glue it on there. All right, I'm gonna come up here, come on top and put this thing on. Okay, so now put your cover, that. With this thing inside out, we're gonna start from the top down. And it's kind of a pain because this thing flops all over the place on you. So, try to line this up. Good thing about being up top is you can look down at it and see if it's crooked, if it's shifted one way or the other. You want this back double stitch to be not facing up, so the double stitch doesn't face up. It needs to be kind of laying facing the rear. But we'll push on here and see if it looks pretty straight from there. So now the first connection you're going to make is across this horizontal, okay? So you want this thing to be far enough down where this clip goes perfectly straight back in. You don't want this at an angle. Like if it's too far, like if it's up top like this, you don't want it pushing down and trying to barely clip in. You want this all the way down square with this seam in the dead center of this horizontal, okay? So that this clip here will push in straight in, okay? Otherwise, if you got another 1/2 inch of slack here, when you go to hook on the bottom, it'll be a real pain in the ass. You won't be able to get it, okay? So you need to get this pulled down real tight. Make sure the sides are good. Okay, so that's good. Now these just push in. These clips just push straight into the little orange retainers in the the foam. Just click, just snaps right in, okay? Okay, those two there. And then there's gonna be one on the back. We'll do the back, we'll hop down and we'll do the one on the back. Okay, so now across here there's a J-clip here on your cover that hooks up on the metal bar. So we're going to hook that on so that stabilizes our whole top portion here. From here to here, this is on, okay? So we'll get that on first. Okay, there we go. Now we'll flip around to here. Okay, so now we got several different clips all the way down the center here, okay? There's 4 down each side. Now you can't just pull the cover down and attach it like if it had Velcro on it, which it doesn't. It's got these clips. So we're going to have to reach our hand up underneath and try to push each connection in. Okay, so we're going to start, but you also, halfway down, we're going to start feeding the airbag canister on the side. A little added bonus. So we're going to start by getting the first connection on. Let's get this started down a little bit. Okay. So now we're going to have to just reach up underneath. I'm going to grab this cable here, this J-clip here, and I'm going to line it up with this orange clip that's in the cover, in the foam, I mean, and push down to clips, okay? And then we're going to come down to this side and do the same thing. Line that up and push it in, clips, okay? So then we're going to work our cover down a little bit further. Okay? Probably getting to the point where we need to put the canister in. We may get one more notch, one more connector before we have to do that. Let's see. I'm probably going to do that now. Okay. So, airbag. So here is the canister that we removed earlier. We're going to have the wire that's inside the frame, which is coming out here, okay? So you get this airbag, this pink material, or airbag material that's part of the cover. So you want to feed, you got to feed this wire from the top down. So there's this pocket that's sewn in here, okay? So shove your hand through the pocket, and your hand will come all the way at the top. You want to feed this wire down through the top so it comes at the bottom, okay? Take your airbag canister, we'll line this thing up. Let's see, there's a notch there, bottom, okay. There we go. Once that pushes in, this little orange piece pushes in, that locks it in. Okay, so you've got the bottom of your airbag has these 2 metal screws on it, the threaded stumps here. There's going to be holes that are pre-cut in the airbag sleeve of the cover, okay? So we got these 2 holes, you know, double hole there, as well as here, there's another one, those 2 overlap, okay? So we need to feed this through until we get these to come through the airbag pocket. So we're going to start stuffing this guy in. And you know you're lined up when you got the threaded stumps pushed through, that coming through the pre-cut holes of the airbag material. Okay, so we'll start putting this down into the frame because the holes are lined up. And then let's find the 2 little spots in the frame here that the holes go, that the bolts go through. There and there. Okay, there we go, those are started. So now we'll get our little 10mm nuts. We'll come from the underneath side. You can just kind of get them finger tight for now. Then we'll come back by and tighten them with the wrench here in a second once we get the cover on. Actually, I'm going to do it right now so I don't forget. Here we go. So, tighten these on. Okay. All right, now airbag canister is back installed. We're going to keep working our cover all the way down. Okay, so this side, put the next spot pushed in. Okay. Okay, that's clipped. Keep on working it down and get to the next section. Okay, now we got 3 of the 4 done. You got 1, 2, and 3 done. There's a 4th one at the very bottom. Now what we're going to do is we're going to try to pull this cover down. Most coat covers should have, that are designed like this, should have Velcro around here. I think it's absolutely absurd that Ford put those stupid ass clips in here. You have to push in to connect because you can't get underneath real well to do anything to adjust. And now we have to adjust it after it's been hooked on. So we're going to have to pull this cover down, sliding the J-clip that's on the side of the cover is going to have to slide through those orange plastic anchors in there and pull everything down to get everything further down, stretched like it should be, which makes it just 10 times more difficult to do with it all attached. So I'm basically just going to be pulling and rubbing this thing down, work it down as far as I can. Okay, now we'll get our bottom clip. Okay, those are on. Now, we'll flip this rig over. Okay, so we got our large flap here in the back. We got a clip on the bottom of this carpet, and another J-clip on the back of this. This clip's gonna come down through here and connect to the back here, okay? So, we had 2 different ways they did these. So 11, 12, let's see. Around 11, 12, I think 13, they changed to a zipper on these back pieces. It's the same thing, gets the same project gets done, same thing, just a different way of doing it, having the zipper versus these clips that roll around. So we want to hook our carpet on the bottom first and then come back and put these on afterwards, okay? So flathead screwdriver too, there we go. Okay, so this part's meant to be really tight, okay? So we got this channel here and this channel. We're going to try to get these to connect. If you need to push harder, you can get a flathead where you can push it in this groove and push down, and you can pull up on this back panel to get it up over, okay? And then we're just going to work our way all the way down it. There's that. Okay, now we're going to hook these on now. Okay, so these, if you have the clips instead of the Velcro, instead of the zipper, this rail here is going to go over it, and roll and tuck back up underneath, okay? So if there's a bunch of excess slack at the top, it means your clip's too far forward, too far to the top, okay? So you have bunches up there. You want this thing pulled down nice and tight so that it lays smooth there. That way you've got enough room for this bottom clip to hook as well. So you can pull it down once it's clipped on, but we're gonna roll this over and you'll feel it clip in and set in. And then the bottom one, same thing. Okay, here, tuck that in, this clip goes here. Okay. Okay, that's on. Let's look here. Okay. All right, we're gonna steam this. Keep the steamer on. So here what I'm doing, I'm gonna push this leather with my thumbs out towards the seam. Push that out and then I'm gonna push the foam underneath towards it, okay? Towards me. So I'm pushing away with me from my thumbs, pushing in here so I can get this bolster, filled up the correct way and where the stitch seam is on the outer edge, okay? So just making sure it's all lined up right. There we go. Now we're going to take our steam over this, take our heat gun, heat that up, throw the seat top up here, and start bolt it all back together. All right, I'm going to grab the steamer and steam this out. The steam really helps just soften the material and get it to kind of open up and relax, so it'll kind of help to kind of mold itself on to the foam, so it starts to really kind of take nice shape to it. It's kind of like breaking in a baseball glove or anything like that, We're just kind of heating it up, getting nice and soft and pliable and hot, and then letting it mold on to the foam cushion. It'll help get a lot of wrinkles out if there's wrinkles left over, on it. It'll help a lot of stuff. That, and we'll hit it with the heat gun afterwards, and it'll really help tighten this all up. It's looking pretty tight as it is, but we're gonna definitely help out some. You can't overheat it with the steam. Steam's not going to hurt it. A heat gun, you can bake it on there way too long and dry the leather out. It'll crunch up like a raisin, but the steamer is not going to get it hot enough to where it can really damage the leather. So it just go. You don't want to leave it in the same spot too long, just keep it moving over it. Any part where there's carpet down here, if you get anywhere close to it, the heat gun is going to shrivel up real quick. So avoid the carpet. You want just going to get on the leather. Is what we're really trying to smooth out. Good. Okay. All right, we'll set this down. We'll grab the seat bottom. We'll start putting this thing back together. I believe we still got steam from the bottom out too. We'll do that here in a second. We'll get it put together. We'll grab it. That on. Actually, we'll leave that unhooked until I get the top on. Let's see, that's okay. Top we need 13 millimeter, I believe. Yep, we got 13s. Socket 13. Let's see, out here's right here. Drive. There you go. Okay. So we got our 4 bolts. I'm going to get this tucked underneath. Feed all this shit once we get it connected. Okay, now okay, the top one in there. Let me get one on this side. Okay, we'll tighten those up. Okay. Tilt this forward. Show you how this carpet works. Okay. So these two little pieces here, these metal pieces that stick out, there's a little pocket sewn on the carpet. This is part of the seat bottom, okay? So this little pocket here goes in there. So this loops all the way around it. This pulls tight, comes over. It's got a little hole for it right there, because there's a push tab, I believe, that goes in the back there. This tucks in underneath. Didn't really do anything, just tucks under. It's there. More top. Side. All this extra slack will tuck up underneath. Just kind of conceals everything, hides it in there. Just needs to go underneath that carpet. Let's go up here. Okay, there we go. All right. Now we got to hook this clip hooks onto here. There's that. Okay. This piece feeds around and hooks on underneath here. And then here's our airbag one. This is going to connect. The yellow ones are airbag. Get those to connect there. There's that. Okay, now I need to put plastic trim back on. Okay. I remember quite a few of these were broken, a lot of the screw tabs and stuff like that, but there's get the screw in the front, this screw. There's also a little push tab here that this thing used to be on here, probably the plastic broke off, but that would go on, that's a push tab. And then we got a little deal at the back that just pushes in. We also have this little stump that broke off that's fitted on the back side of there. So we're gonna hook all that stuff back up. All right, this little chrome rig with our 7mm. Yeah, 7mm goes in the very back. Get other little screws here. Okay, so Should have all the holes cut we need. Yep. Okay, there's also these tabs here, and we'll show you they're broken off, but let me see if I can get this off to show you real quick. Okay. Alright, so this little tab here, okay, there's still some of the plastic left on it from that's broken off of this. But this is a metal clip here. See, it's kind of a horseshoe shape, like that. That hooks on this metal bar. So this piece, if this is a metal bar, this is going to push on and clip on, okay? And this part is normally molded on to this right here. So you push and it snaps on. So that'll pop on there, but this one's broken. So we're going to have a screw here. We're going to have the back panel. And this little piece is going to hook around. Let's see if that'll hook. Put my cable through for that. Okay, that's gonna go there. It's hard to do with every tab freaking broken off. I can get that screw in. There's the Phillips. There. Let's see, there would be, that would clip on, there's another screw there, and there's one in the back. Let's get the one in the back. Okay. Move this around so you can see. Okay, to get here, we actually need to pull this clip off for the carpet. This piece is going to pop off. Okay, because this is going to line up with that right there. Where's that piece fell on the floor? Somewhere here it is. Okay, so this little plastic piece, and then it's got a little screw that would go and that goes in the middle of it. So goes to there. Let's run. That's the front. This is the back. Let's try this one. I think this had a different screw, but this will work. Okay, here's that. I'll put this back on. We also need, alright, this is the little chrome screw that goes through this little plastic stud that's normally mounted on this plastic piece. It goes through right back up in here, which is really tricky to get to. There's a little hole that's right through here, and this would go back in there. Since the stump is busted off, I'm not going to feed it back through there. But don't forget this little screw that goes back through here, the hook's on the side, it goes in this little stump we talked about at the very beginning of the video. Okay, we got more up front. Let's put it back. Okay, we got this. The front one is a Torx. Okay, our control panel. So we got one main plug at the very front. We'll clip that back together. And then these tops, you got these top ones hook over, they go over the top, and then these things snap into place. The front one, you do have a hook, so you want to lead in with the front, so you want to hook this on. This front little hook will go in first, and then I would go from the top down once you get the front hooked on. So we'll hit that clip there. Snip that. Go from the top. Down. A lot of these clips are busted, but let's see. Yeah, all my clips are busted, but that's how it goes on. So the front has a hook, the tops have hooks that go over, and then you have a big snap here that pushes on and snaps on, but that one's broken too. So you need these to snap. Hold on. There we go. Best is going to hold on with these things. Hold on. Doesn't look very good because all the things are broken. Let's see if we can. There we go. That'll work. Okay, so next thing we got to do, last thing we got to do is got to cut the holes for the headrest. So I take a little pick, just a straight pick, my pair of scissors. Also got the two headrest tubes. So what we'll do is I'm going to feel for where the holes are in the top, because you're going to feel a indentation where the headrest tubes need to go, and you can push down and you can feel the metal circle in the frame. So we'll make sure we get it dead on. Okay. All right, I can feel that hole there. So once I feel the hole where the headrest is going to go, put my thumb right in the middle of it. Then I want to take my poker here. Okay, there's my hole. So I'm going to go right in the middle of that. I'm going to take this poke. I'm going to poke the hole straight down, okay? All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to trim a little hole with scissors and get enough where I can get a kind of a window inside there to see what's going on, see where I need to keep trimming for the forward or for the back or whatever. So, turn around front so you can see it better. Okay, so here is where I made my little hole. I'm going to just cut a little circle. If I can get my finger in, and then I can feel for the hole, see where I'm at on it. I'm pretty very close there. I want to go a little further forward. So I can feel the hole perfect in there. So we got this part. I mean, you got to cut the diameter a little bit bigger because you want to be able to get this part of the rim of the headrest tube to go through that hole. Okay, you want it to be able to go through the hole. Otherwise, it's going to hit there and it's going to push the material down. The material is going to be sunk in. Okay, so I'm going to trim a little bit bigger than what I got. That line's up there. Let me get the headrest real quick. Okay, so here's the headrest. So there's two different, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let me look at this top. Okay, they both got push releases. So, okay, we can go, yep, do this one here. Another one up, and then just pop it into place, okay? So the next thing you can do, once you got one of them in, you can take your headrest, you can stick that one there, and you kind of give you a gauge of where your next one's going to be, because it's going to be that same width, you know. This is the pole's going to go in, so. All right, mark where that's at. I'm going to stick my poker right there. Okay, I'm going to trim a hole. Okay. There's that. There we go. Headrest on. So our control panel is falling off again. Okay, so here we go. That's it. 2011 through, I believe it's going to run through 16. Ford F250, F350. This is the Lariat. The XL is very similar. Should go through the same process. But any of the F250s, 2011 through 2016, F250, F350. I'm Brian with the Seat Shop. If you got any questions, give us a call. 214-710-2565. Check us out at theseatshop.com. Also check us out on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks, guys.